jump into cosine law, just reviewing sine law. In sine law, the situation was always a side, and then an angle. Okay, so that's how you kind of know you have to use the sine law. They need to go in pairs. And then I've seen a lot of people doing this, which is good to see. A lot of you guys were like, okay, those guys go together, and also, yeah, so 6 would go with that angle down there. And I saw a lot of that going on during the quiz. It looked like a lot of 3 out of 3s on that quiz. And sine law is quite easy. Sine law is like a nice break from the hard stuff in trig. And you know, sine law is taught in 20-2, and this cosine law is also taught in 20-2. So those guys across the hall are also doing this stuff as well. So for cosine law, if you take a look at this triangle, it's not going to be side-side angle. It's actually side, then an angle, and then a side. So side, angle, side. Okay? So note the difference. And this is how you tell, like, okay, I can do cosine law, I can do sine law, but how do I know when to use which one? Well, this is the tip-off. Side, angle, side. Okay, so if you see side, angle, side, you know it's going to be cosine law. So it's like, well, what happens when you try to apply the sine law? Well, I'm assuming it's going to break down. So 36 would go over here. You don't know that angle. And then 6 goes with B, you don't know the angle, and 3 goes with that, and you don't know the angle. So you can't use sine law. Okay, can't use sine law. Okay, so we're going to introduce this other law called the cosine law. Okay, and okay, I'm not going to review SOHCAHTOA today. I'm not going to do this proof of cosine law. It's way too much. And I'll just start by explaining these formulas. So on your formula sheets, take a look at the inside cover. Yours will be identical. Inside cover of your book, formula sheet. You have these ones on the formula sheet. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times cosine A. On the inside cover of your book, the back inside cover, in the trigonometry section, inside of your book. It's also on your formula sheet. Okay, and the other one is this one here, cosine capital A B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. So those are the two on your formula sheet. If you want to come borrow one, I have a bunch up here. Yeah, these are the ones that are on your formula sheet. Okay, if you want to snag one, they're up here. Okay, so the first one, this one here on the left, okay. So this situation on the left, you can see that you're going to need this side angle side situation, and it's to solve for an unknown side. Okay, so that formula there is to solve for the unknown side. Okay, and keep this in mind. These are for triangles that are not right angled. Okay, Rafi, put that away. Sine and cosine law are for non-right angled triangles. If you have a right angled triangle presented to you, you're allowed to use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, keep that in mind. So right angled triangles, use SOHCAHTOA. Non-right angled triangles, it's either cosine law or sine law. Okay, so now this other formula here, we will get to when the question comes up to. Okay, but I'll just jot it down that it will be for side, 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 and it's when it's unknown angle. So that one on the right. So it looks like we're just going to work with the one on the left. So for this question down below, I just want you guys to identify the side angle side, please. So side, angle, side. And I really wish that this triangle wasn't labeled ABC, but whatever. We're smarter than this. side, angle, side. Okay. So when we go to our formula, and I'll use this green pen. Do you see this B and this C? Kind of reminds me of Pythagorean, right? But the B and the C in that formula are the side and the side in this side angle side business. Okay, so you have to just identify that side angle side and then you're good to go. And over here on purple, this side over here, that's of course what you're going to solve for. Okay? So that's the unknown side that you're trying to solve for. Okay? Now back to this formula. You can see the B and C repeat themselves. So it's the same B and C that you were using before. So it's those other two sides. And then what angle are you going to use for this cosine A? Of course, it's the angle that's squished between the side angle side. So if you can see a side angle side, you know it's cosine law, and you're pretty much ready to go. All right. So A squared equals B squared, so 6 squared plus C squared, which is 3 squared, and then minus 2 times B and C, so it's the same numbers, 6 and 3. And then you're going to times the cosine of 36. The nice thing about this is you could type that all into a single line on the graphing calculator. It's actually really nice. So I would write it down once, especially on a written response. Written response, substitute into the formula, make sure you're going to get those marks for showing your work, and then straight to the calculator. So it's 6 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 6 times 3 times the cosine of 36. Okay, big number, right? 15.875. Let's remember that, 15.875. Is that the answer? Or is that the result for A square? Solve for A, we will square root. Okay. Back to my calculator, keeping all my accuracy. Watch how I do this. Okay, goodbye. So now I just go second function square, the square root pops up, and then I'll use the answer key, so second function this negative, and then gives it to me there, 3.98. Okay? So a lot of kids, like, this is easy, and then they'll forget the square root or something, so just make sure you're being careful like that. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Okay, 3.98. So nearest tenth, that's just going to round up to 4.0. So 4, which kind of makes sense. Like, I don't think the number 15 would make too much sense here, right? That 15.875, that, so don't forget the square root. Any questions? Students typically find the sine law and the cosine law very easy. It's formulaic. You just make sure you understand the structure. You plug, you play, you're good to go. Question? No? Okay. Okay, find the length to the nearest tenth of the third side of PQR. Okay, so QP, just put that in there, 1.7. QR, 3.1. And then they want this missing side here. So PR. And where do I put this 110, you guys? Look in the middle, right? The middle letter. So 110 is here. This is that side angle side situation, right? Side angle side. Okay, so A square equals 1.7 square plus 3.1 square minus, that's what my formula sheet says, minus 2, 1.7, thank you, and 3.1, thank you, times the cosine of the angle squished between them, 110. Cosine 110. Pump that into calculator, all in one line. That's what's so nice about this. Okay, these values will never be negative, so you don't even need brackets on these. And then minus, even if you don't put brackets there, it'll work just fine because order of operations will be just fine right here. So what's the intermediate value? You guys agree with that? 16 something as an intermediate value. Second step, 16.1 roughly. Square root that's going to be roughly 4. 4 what? 4.013, so nearest 10th. Always check the rounding, nearest 10th. 4.0. You guys okay with that? All right. Any questions? Pretty easy, hey? It doesn't have to be. It's just multiplication. It's all just multiplication. I like to put the cosine in the brackets because it's like, this is just some number. Some cosine of 110 is just some number. That's why I like to put it in brackets. Okay, next one. Bellevue is 30 kilometers north of Air. Okay, so B, A, 30. Okay with that? Bellevue, 30 north of Air. Just use the first letter. And Churchville is 18 kilometers northwest of Air. Okay, so where's northwest? This direction? So I'm not sure where, so we'll just put a point up here. And this is called Churchville, so C. So I'm just going to move that 30 over so it's out of the way. And, you know, it might look something like this, I'm not quite sure. And that's 18 there. Or is northwest perfectly at an angle of 45? Yeah. So I need an angle, right? They didn't mention anything about an angle. So northwest would be halfway between north and west. So that's important. So I need to fix my diagram. So yeah, it will be perfectly like, oh, I don't know where it is. All I know is that this is 45 degrees. This is 30 and this is 18. So I have no idea what's happening over here. I don't know if it's straight. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But we have enough information to do the side angle side business. So just jot that in so you don't forget. Side angle side. Okay, a square equals 18 square plus 30 square minus 2 times 18 times 30 times cosine 45. Get that answer and then square root it. $21 something? Okay. You guys okay with cosine law? Okay. Okay, now I'm not going to worry too much about this. You just want to focus here on this. So this alternative form, okay? To get this alternative form, you just have to isolate for cosine A. So I guess I'll show you that. So up at the top here, I'm going to write this formula out. And I want to isolate for cosine A. Okay, and right now, this cosine A is attached here. See how that cosine A is attached there? And it's got a negative out on front of it? Okay, so I'm going to move all this stuff in blue because it's attached to a negative. I'm going to move it all over to the other side and make it positive. And I'm going to move this a squared over to the other side because I'm trying to isolate the term involving cosine A. So this 2bc cosine A is getting moved to the left, and this a squared is getting moved to the right. I'm still trying to isolate for this cosine A, so I have to divide out this 2bc, and I now have this alternative form, which of course they're going to give you for free. You get that equation for free on your formula sheet. All you need to know how to do is how to use it. Okay, everybody finds it on there? Okay. So when you go to use this formula, and let's edit this one here. This B and this C are the side and the side. And this is the angle in between them. This is the other side. So it's very similar. It's like, how do you know which two are positive, which sides are positive and which side's negative in the formula? Well, the two that are positive are going to be the ones that make up the side angle side for the angle that you're searching for. Okay, so let me just demo that when we actually do a question. Okay. So let's just work on class example 7 because they gave it to us. They want us to find the angle between the directions of the two ships. So two ships set sail from port P. So one ship heads this way and the other ship heads this way. The first ship shall sail 7. The other ship sails 8. If the distance between R and Q is 13, determine the angle between the directions of the two ships. So they want us to find this angle here. Let's call it X. Okay, just please first start by writing down this alternative form from your formula sheet. Cosine capital A equals B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. All right, let me use color and arrow. B and C, the blue arrow, what do I put there? 7, 8, 13, which ones?
7 and 8.
Good, because they make up the side and the angle and the side that we're interested in. We're interested in this angle here, so we use 7 and 8. If we wanted the angle at R, we'd use 7 and 13. If we wanted the angle at Q, we'd use 8 and 13. Okay? And then the negative side is the opposite one that you haven't used yet. Okay, so let's go to this formula. 7 squared plus 8 squared, and we're going to be minusing 13 squared. All over 2 times, and B and C are same as above, so 2 times 7 times 8. Okay, now this is where it just gets dicey on the calculator. So what I recommend for the calculator, I'll just put a little note here for the calculator. This is what I would personally do. I would go numerator 1, get my answer, do numerator 2, get that answer, not numerator. What am I doing? Duh. My bad. Numerator, get the answer, denominator, get that answer, and then divide. Is that clear? Because sometimes you do all this good work and then you get screwed over by the calculator because you don't remember, or you're too sloppy, or you're lazy, or whatever. Who knows? Whatever reason. So please watch the calculator. Numerator first. 7 squared plus a 8 squared minus a 13 squared. Okay. What was the bottom? 2 times 7 times 8. Okay, 56 divided by 112. I'm not sure why that's negative right now. Yeah, and then you go second function, not second function, second cos of this answer. 60? I sure hope that's the answer. Or else I just lied to you all. But remember when we were doing a few lessons ago, we never put in the negative? Don't put in the negative. You don't have to put in the negative. Well, this is where you kind of have to trust your knowledge of trigonometry. So you might be a little bit confused right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the two variations that we have. We had cosine A equals negative 0.5, right? That's what we should have got, right? Negative 0.5. And then you go second cos of that negative 0.5, and a lot of you were getting this 120. Okay? And then what did I do? I didn't put in the negative, I just put in the 0.5, and I got 60. Just teaching. Swag? Yes, Swag gave it to you. Or Sad. Okay, so what is this? That is a reference angle, right? Theta reference. Okay. So I'm gonna just say go with this. Use the negative for cosine law, or else you're gonna get confused. Only for the cosine law, yeah. Because this is clearly obtuse, right? Yeah. So don't do this. If the ratio comes out negative, use it. Oh my gosh. Use the negative. Only for cosine law. Okay, let's go up and try the one above. Okay, and this just gets kind of dicey with when you have to draw it yourself. Okay, so when you're drawing these, like use their relative sizes. So if A is 15 and the other ones are 9 and 12 roughly, just draw them a little bit smaller. Okay, so if that's 15, maybe 9 looks like this, and maybe 12.6 looks like this. Is it perfect? No. Is it somewhat accurate? Yeah. Is it right angled? No. And it wants us to find the largest angle. So where do you suppose the largest angle will be? Where do you suppose the largest angle will be? Why did I use 15 up there? That's better. I don't know. I put 9 for some reason. It's 8.9. And I used 15 for some reason, but it's 14.7. And 12.6. I was like rounding in my head and writing at the same time, so it's like a Freudian slip. So which angle is going to be the largest? Yeah, good thinking, good thinking. So if we were to do something we're more comfortable with, we're more comfortable with these right angle triangles, right? And then if the 90 is here, those other two angles have to be smaller than 90. Do you agree? So the largest angle is across the largest side. Okay? Okay, so the largest angle will be across the largest side. Does that make sense? Because it's got that bigger distance, right? So let's call this A. This is little a, so this is capital A. 8.9 is little b, so this is capital B, and this is capital C. So there's our triangle, ABC triangle, and we're looking for the largest angle which is occurring here at A. So this is the one we want. So always start with the formula. Now when you're going to use this formula, keep in mind that these A, B's, and C's are completely like on their own. They really have nothing to do with these A, B's, and C's, okay? So don't think that there won't always be the same. So yeah, we're looking for A here, but like that's just a coincidence, right? That's not always going to be like that. This angle that we're looking for makes up the side angle side. Please jot that down. Side angle side. So 8.9 and 12.6 will be your B and C. Right? You guys okay with that? And the 14.7 will go here. I know, right? 8.9 squared plus 12.6 squared minus 14.7 squared all over 2 times 8.9 times 12.6. Okay, again, do the numerator and the denominator separately, please. I'll use this funky calculator here. 8.9 square plus 12.6 square minus 14.7 square. So I got 21.88 on top. 2 times 8.9 times 12.6. I got 224.28 on the bottom. So do them separately. And then second function cos the result. So 21, well, I'll do second function cos 21.88 divided by 224.28. So second function cosh of that ratio, and you get 84. Okay. Any questions before I let you go into the homework? Like here? Could go to number 7 in your homework. Everybody just do 7 right now before the bell rings. Everyone make sure you get 7 done. 7A, B, C, and D. Just do it right now. And then you can do the homework will be like 1 to 5. Homework's 1 to 5, 8, 10, and 11, and then just do 7 right now. And that way, because if you do 7 before class is over, you can get my attention if you screw up. If you get 7, you should pretty much have this mastered.